yeah, for pregnant mother, they don't have the liberty to know the gender of their babies or what of that pregnancy and try again, which I found really, guys, that was the most painful thing in my life. Fun enough, they thought my husband was my translator, so the doctor was kind of angry with me. My husband was angry as well because hello guys, welcome back to another video with your host Simply Brother. Anyway guys, I'm just doing this for fun. It's lunchtime, I'm on my way back home and it's very hot today. Thank you guys for always subscribing and following my channel. If it's your first time clicking on this channel, honey, consider to subscribe to the channel. You will not regret it. I promise to show you more about China, buying, building. It's your one-stop shop here. So guys, thank you for coming and talking about the China thing. Anyway, this is the story that I just want to share with you guys. My experience in the Chinese hospitals and giving birth in the Chinese hospital. You know, well, I'll walk you through the antenatal. There's a lot of differences between Zimbabwe and China. So here it's more like checks throughout. I remember when I became pregnant, in fact I didn't have an easy pregnancy. You know, the first 3 months of my pregnancy was hell. I had to stay in a hospital, guys. I was in and out of the hospital because of different emergencies. So finally, when we came to the third trimester, actually I was so, like, that time my Chinese was not that great and I couldn't understand most of the, you know, medical terms, and also talking about babies and stuff, the terms. I didn't understand the main Chinese, guys, although my Chinese was pretty much okay to communicate on daily basis. Like, well, we're just talking about daily conversations here, but not medical terms. I was totally lost, guys. I can pretty much say my husband had to, like, go with me every time because I didn't understand the thing, so they had to explain things to him. Even when he tell me, sometimes he didn't even know how to translate those things as well to me. And also that time, I think the translation apps and so forth were not that readily available, so it wasn't like easy for me. So every time I would go with my husband and he had to be there waiting for me, you know. And sometimes the doctor will explain things to him and he would tell me, and I'll be like, I oppose it, I don't want to do this. I remember at one point the doctor told me that my baby was deformed or something, like things were not right, so they needed me to go to the hospital to do some tests that I didn't understand. But I want to believe, I forgot the test. They were saying he had tried some what, and they also told me that at that time I needed to do those tests because it was vital for me to make a decision, for me to make decision whether I wanted to keep the pregnancy or not. Yes, by the way, here in China, you can, at that time, you had the right to say, if they tell you that the baby is not in correct form or something, you could say you don't want to keep the pregnancy and they can, you know, get rid of the pregnancy. But I was like, no, I've struggled so much, regardless of how the baby will come out or how he will look, I'm gonna keep the pregnancy because, you know, I want. So there's no need for me to do all those shada tests, you know. And I remember at that time the doctor was kind of angry with me. My husband was angry as well because most of them, they wouldn't want to have babies that are, you know, disabled and stuff. I think it's something that I got to learn that time because the doctor insisted that if the baby is not in correct form, you can get rid of that pregnancy and try again, which I found really crazy at that time. So I said I wasn't, whether my baby is going to be a Down syndrome or anything of some sort, I was just gonna keep, that's my child, I'm gonna keep. So there's no need for me to do those tests. They were saying they are very important tests. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And the doctors were really angry at me. My husband was angry as well, and I said, no, I'm not going to do, I'll keep the child. The way the child will come, I'll keep it, and I don't want to know those tests, I'm not gonna take them. So yeah, we continue with the prenatal, the antenatal classes, and also going for checks every time. Then when it comes to the due date, the baby couldn't come here. I had to stay and wait. And I remember continue to go in. Then when you're getting closer, they want you to do these visits like every week or so. And I was doing those every week until I had to do the hospital visits every day, and the baby couldn't come. And then one day I went and they just say, no, now today you're not going home. Your pregnancy is now risky because you have already passed the due dates and nothing is happening. And I had to be taken in, guys, an inducement or whatever. I forgot how to say, but if you know, you can let me know, guys. So yes, I say, okay, fine. My bags were ready. So we went to the hospital check-in, and I went through inducement. Guys, that was the most painful thing in my life, and unfortunately it couldn't work. I had to go through excruciating pain for like more than 24 hours, and the baby was not moving. Nothing was happening until they had to arrange an emergency surgery, C-section, and I was like, okay, it's okay, you can just do it. So we went for C-section, and the baby was out within few minutes of going in the C-section department. So yeah, I had to stay like 5 more days. But anyway, during the pregnancy, there's one important part I skipped to tell you guys. In China, they cannot tell you the gender of the baby. Yeah, for pregnant mother, they don't have the liberty to know the gender of their babies or what they are carrying. It's more like a surprise. When it's time to give birth, you can know. Well, I'm not speaking for everybody. I know there are those those special cases whereby a patient may know, maybe because you're a foreigner also, but some hospital, they still refuse to tell. Even if you're a foreigner, they still refuse to tell you the gender of your baby, because the Chinese law doesn't allow the doctors to divulge that information. So it's best kept like that. And I also inquired, I wanted to know why people don't tell, like why doctors don't tell the people that you are carrying a girl or a boy. And then I got to learn that most people then in the past, because of the one-child policy, most people would get rid of the pregnant the moment they know that the baby is a girl, because most families were looking forward to having boys and stuff. So having a girl was kind of like a curse, I think, at that time. So most people would definitely get rid of the pregnancy because they thought they only have one chance to be pregnant. And if they have a girl, that means they want somebody to carry the name, they want an heir, so they would get rid of the pregnancy if it's a girl. So until now, the law still doesn't allow, although I know that nowadays the law can allow Chinese people to have as many children as they can, as long as you can take care of them. But a lot of people are now have gotten used to having just one child, So at that time, yes, I was lucky that I was a teacher and I was teaching adults. So one of my students was a gynecologist, and one day she just sneaked me in the hospital after our class, and she just did a quick check on me, and she told me that I was carrying a boy. But anyway, it was still early in my pregnancy. I think she told me, you are having a girl, and it's clear, she's not guessing, that's clear, I was having a boy. And I told my husband, and he was okay with that. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law was super expecting a girl. She was buying all this stuff for girls because she was hoping that I will have a girl, because in my husband's family they are all boys. Even his brothers, they all have boys. And my mother-in-law, prior to that, she also told me that she ended up having 3 boys because she was looking for a girl. She was thinking that maybe one pregnancy will, she'll have a girl, but unfortunately she couldn't have any girl. So my husband was okay me having a boy, but my mother-in-law was really looking forward to having a girl. So yeah, the first time I was told, so I told my husband, oh, I'm having a boy. My friend told me she did a check on me. And then one day on our just normal routine, and one thing I realized in China, anything you have to go through the, what do you call it, scans. we do a lot of scans when you are pregnant. They always want to do scans. I remember at some stage I told them, no, I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do those scans. I'm forgetting the names of these things, guys, of these terms, because it's been long. I think that the scan like to show the baby and stuff. So every visit I was having one, and I realized after my researches, I realized that it might not be good for the child to always do those things. So I end up refusing some of them. So one day we had to do, that was crucial. I know at every trimester you must have at least a number of scans that you need to do. So that day I was doing a scan, and my husband was there with me. Like I say, he has to be with me all the time because of the language barriers and stuff like that. So the doctor, like I told you, the doctors were not allowed to tell the patients the gender of their babies, right? So at that particular day, I think we just met a very kind doctor, and she thought that my husband was my translator. Funny enough, they thought my husband was my translator. So she asked my husband whether he should ask me whether I would love to know the gender of my child, and my husband said yeah, she would love to know. And the doctor told me, oh, you're having a boy, congratulations, something like that. So my husband was really excited by the news, to the extent that the doctor was like, why are you so excited with the news? And then my husband was like, nah, because I am her husband, I am the father of the child, so I'm excited. Then the doctor, oh no, I shouldn't tell you, right, the law doesn't allow us to tell you and stuff like that. But then it was too late, because the doctor had already divulged the news, so we already know. Anyway, it was not really new, but it was sort of like a confirmation, because I have had one of those taken, right, and I knew already that I was carrying a boy, and it was just a confirmation for my husband, because it was his first time to be told the news by the medical staff, by the doctor. The first time I had to convey the news to him, but the second time he was there, he was in the room, and the doctor actually told him that it was a boy. So yeah, I realized that there are so many cases whereby people get so confused at that time. They always thought that my husband was my translator, and they also wonder why a male was coming to their antenatal area, because that area is mostly women that goes in. That's something about China, and there's no privacy. That's why they always it's only acceptable for women to go there, because the checks are just done in the open. The doctors will just check and stuff like that. It's just so open. There is no secrecy, and everyone behind you can actually hear everything that the doctor is saying about you or giving to you. So there's no secrecy, which is something that was a shock for me when I was doing these classes, when I was going for these checks, because everyone will be there. The doctor will be criticizing you or telling you stuff. Everyone will be hearing your business, so yeah, guys, so that's all my experience being pregnant in China and going through the antenatal visits and postnatal visits and stuff like that. That's all my experience. So tell me about where you are, how it's done, and what was your experience if you're a mother. What was your experience during your term, and are you living in your birth country or you're living in a foreign country? What were your shocks concerning that? If you had given birth in another country, was there something that you were not expecting to happen to you that is normally done, that is normal in your country, but you found that it was totally different in another country that you live in? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming to listen to my chit chat, and I hope to see you in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's goodbye. See you in another video.